If you want to understand a man's character, don't look at his job title. Don't look at his income. Don't even look at his confidence. Listen to what he says, especially under pressure. The Stoics believed that language is never accidental. Words are habits of thought made audible. What a man repeats reveals what he tolerates in himself. A foolish man doesn't fail because he lacks intelligence. He fails because his default language exposes weak thinking, poor discipline, and low standards. And the most dangerous part, these phrases sound normal. They're socially accepted. Most people say them without realizing they quietly lower their value every time they speak. Stoicism sets a higher standard, not for how a man looks, but for how he thinks, and how that thinking shows up in his words. In this video, we'll break down 5 things a stupid man always says, and why a Stoic man never lets these words leave his mouth. Before we begin, understand this clearly. This is not entertainment, and it is not an attack. It is a standard. If you recognize these phrases in your own speech, don't feel offended. Feel alerted, because awareness is the first form of intelligence. And if you hear these words coming consistently from another man, take note, not to judge him, but to understand exactly who you are dealing with. The Stoics warned against ignoring patterns. Apologies lie, explanations distract, but repeated language never does. What a man always says reveals who he is becoming. 1. It's not my fault. This is usually the first sentence a foolish man reaches for. It appears whenever something fails, collapses, or goes wrong. Instead of examining his role, he immediately searches for external causes, circumstances, other people, timing, bad luck. This phrase reveals more than blame. It reveals surrender. The moment a man removes himself from responsibility, he removes himself from power. If nothing is his fault, then nothing is within his control. Stoicism teaches a harsher but liberating truth. You may not control events, but you always control your response. Ownership is not self-criticism. It is self-command. A Stoic man does not ask who caused the problem. He asks what part of it belongs to him. That question is where intelligence begins. 2. That's just how I am. After blame comes stagnation. This sentence sounds confident, even honest, but it is intellectual laziness disguised as self-acceptance. A foolish man uses it to freeze himself exactly where he is. He mistakes habit for identity and calls it authenticity. Stoicism rejects this completely. Character is not something you discover. It is something you train. Temperament is raw material, not destiny. When a man says, "That's just how I am," what he is really saying is that he refuses discomfort. He refuses discipline. He refuses growth. A Stoic man does not protect his flaws with explanations. He treats weakness as something to be corrected, not defended. Because stability without improvement is simply decay in slow motion. 3. Everyone does it. When responsibility is avoided and growth is rejected, a man seeks refuge in the crowd. This phrase reveals fear of standing alone. A foolish man borrows collective behavior to escape individual accountability. Stoicism demands independence of judgment. The crowd follows comfort, convenience, and appetite. Wisdom has never required majority approval. History proves this repeatedly. What is common is rarely examined. What is popular is rarely virtuous. When a man says, "Everyone does it," he announces that his standards are borrowed, not chosen. A Stoic man asks a harder question. Is this aligned with my principles? Right does not become right because it is widespread. It becomes right because it survives scrutiny when no one is watching. 4. I'll start tomorrow. This sentence reveals fear disguised as planning. Tomorrow becomes a hiding place for men who do not trust themselves to act today. A foolish man believes motivation must arrive before effort, so he waits. He calls delay preparation, and confusion patience. Stoicism exposes this illusion brutally. Action precedes clarity. Discipline comes before confidence. Every time a man says, "I'll start tomorrow," he reinforces a dangerous habit. He teaches himself that his own word is negotiable. Over time, self-trust erodes. A Stoic man understands that strength is built in the present moment, not when conditions are perfect, not when emotions cooperate, but when action is uncomfortable and necessary. Tomorrow is not a strategy. It is avoidance with a calendar. 5. I deserve better. This is the most dangerous sentence because it feels justified. A foolish man believes worth is something owed to him by life, by people, by circumstances. When reality fails to comply, resentment replaces responsibility. Stoicism dismantles entitlement completely. Nothing is owed. Everything is earned. Value is not declared through desire. It is demonstrated through standards, effort, and restraint. When a man says, "I deserve better," without changing his habits, discipline, or character, he reveals a disconnect from reality. A Stoic man does not demand fairness from the world. He builds himself into someone who commands better outcomes naturally. Life does not reward claims. It responds only to strength made visible through action. These phrases may sound ordinary, but they quietly shape a man's destiny. What you repeat becomes how you think. How you think becomes how you act. And how you act determines what kind of life you live. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He chooses his words the same way he chooses his standards, with discipline. He does not excuse himself. He does not hide behind the crowd. He does not delay action, and he does not beg life for what he has not earned. Instead, he takes responsibility. He trains his character. He acts without waiting, and he raises himself to the level his ambitions require. You don't become stronger by saying better things. You become stronger by refusing to say weak things. That is the Stoic path. Quiet, demanding, unforgiving.